Hi, I'm Barry Pinsky. Welcome to my tutorial series, How to Carve a Bear with Barry. For episode 1, we're going to be putting down the chainsaw so we can start with the most fundamental aspect of wood carving, the wood. Today, we'll be covering the basic parts of a log and what makes a good or bad tree for carving. There's 4 primary aspects of your growing tree. You have the bark, the cambium layer, the sapwood here, that's sappy, and the heartwood. The bark is your protective outer layer. It's almost like a plastic wrap. It keeps it protected. It's amazing what it does. Your cambium layer is like your real life of the tree. And this is full of an incredible amount of nutrients. This is one thing I don't understand about the show Naked and Afraid. Most often, people are in a wooded area, and the cambium layer of the tree is full of all kinds of nutrients, and it has water in it. So if I was lost starving in the woods, I think I would just chew on this and I would live. So Naked and Afraid people, check out some cambium. Bark, cambium, sapwood. This part of the tree, nutrients actually go up and down as the tree grows. And as the heartwood expands, as the tree grows, the sapwood moves out. What was sapwood becomes heartwood. The heartwood part of the tree is a structural part of the tree, but it's not a live part of the tree. No nutrients go up and down throughout the heartwood. So that's basically what you're looking at in all trees. I can predict where this is going to split, and that is most often the closest part to the pith within the whole piece. The pith on this tree is off to one side. When I turn this into a bear, I'll probably remove about this much of the back of the tree. It's higher in the front here, so most people, I would guess, that were just setting this up and didn't care about the pith would probably want to put the ears back here because it's higher. But in so doing, when they carved it, that would put the pith right between the eyes or right on the edge of the eyes. So once they created this bear and sold it to their art collector, it's going to split right through the face and the people are going to be mad. So what I do is I take a stick and I put the stick on my piece and I just kind of measure and I can see where the longest point is. Now it's only about an inch shorter on this one side, but that little bit will make a difference. And then when I cut the back, it will be, half of the distance compared to here. And that will make the pith way to the back. And then I put a relief cut in there with a skill saw to relieve the tension so the back of the bear can move as the wood dries with the rings, and the rings pull as it dries, and that way it won't split through the face. So that's really what you need to know about the material and working with the material to get yourself started on the right path. So if you're going to carve a bear or any type of sculpture, that you know where the pith is and how it's going to crack. It's always going to crack to the closest point to the pith. You can bank on it. So these are examples of wood that I got this winter from my buddy Glenn, who's a good friend of mine. But he did give me some real crap. Look at that. Got all kinds of junk on the end. I guess if it's free, you can't complain. The wood is rotten on the bottom.
Oh, I'll give you a discount on that one.
If you look closely here, you can see bark. This is a pith, that's the center of the tree. This is a pith, that's the center of the tree. So these two trees are growing together. So what you see when you look at a whole tree, and this is what people have to realize, there's years of growing that's happened, and what you see on the outside doesn't necessarily translate into workable material. Now on the outside of the tree, You could see a little dimple that was in here, and then up here was the actual crotch. And believe it or not, this tree had bark all the way through it. So this really doesn't have any good quality as a carving log, and that's why it's been left here in my wood pile. The next thing we're going to look at in the why is this junk pile, Barry, is dry rot. Dry rot is wood inside of the tree that's breaking down. This is like a sponge. It's like spongy wood. It's just like a real bad flaw in the material. And the reason I'm trying to communicate this stuff to you viewers is so you see this stuff ahead of time and you say, I don't want junk in my yard like Barry has. This is my good wood pile. This wood came from a residence, but it was a densely forested type of area. And you can see we have mostly nice straight logs here. So the other day I was on the Chainsaw Carving Facebook page, and these guys were complaining about bugs in their wood. And the one guy said, oh, I like to use dry logs. And it's unfortunate that you get bugs in your dry logs. I'm thinking, dry logs? What freaking planet did these guys fall off of? You can't really get a dry log. Wood has to dry from the ends. It's like an assemblage of straws. It doesn't really exude moisture from the outside or let moisture evaporate out. It kind of does, but not really. It needs to come out of the ends. And when the logs sit, as I mentioned before, the cambium layer here is like a frat house for a hockey team, and we know they like to party. And you can see here already that this stain in here is actually mold, like a fungus. So the microorganisms are starting to work in this cambium and sapwood, the life of the tree, and starting to break this down already. So the idea that you're going to get the wood and let it sit and have it dry is a bad idea. All that's going to happen is it's going to start to rot. So yes, doing regular woodworking, dry boards, furniture, dry is very important. In sculpture, wet, then have your sculpture dry, then wedge the cracks or try to seal it up. Deal with the checking after. That's my advice after all these years. I need some water. This is the first in a series of videos on how to carve a wooden bear and everything involved with it, all of my knowledge. Please hit the subscribe button so that way you'll know when the next video comes out, and share this with any friends that you think might find it interesting too. Thank you.